Hello, I am going to be showing you good piping TM. So first of all, just to prevent as much iridium from leaking from the spawn as possible, I tend to first of all put a four-way facing this way. So I tap T twice, and then I will pipe a four-way somewhere by the spawn so that I can just pull the pipe off the side. And as long as this isn't too close to the spawn, like right up next to it, you won't have a problem. You'll be able to pipe this. You basically want this to line up about, and it's not too big of a deal. But that way you don't leak too much iridium. And another thing you can do, it tends to be faster. I'm in a VIP server with all of the settings increased for iridium transfer, but generally it is faster to pull from the spawn and build. I would not usually recommend upgrading the spawn well pump. Generally, I would recommend moving out into the middle. But right here, I'm just gonna put down some standard tanks. And generally, I use this sort of piping style, I guess, for anything that is close together like this. Stuff like a large tank is pretty far apart, and for stuff like this I tend to use four-ways because it's easy to pipe between them. And similarly with the arsenal, you generally want some space between them. This might even be too close, and they're pretty wide, so having four-ways is good there, as well as if you want to do a vertical stack, generally doing four-ways like this, something like that. You can extend forward like this. Generally something like this is what I do with arsenals. But over here, you can see basically all this is T-junction facing up on each one, and then just kind of a sort of zipper shape. And you can make this go as far this way as you want, and generally I stick with an even number of structures here so that I can do something like this. But I will show you what I do when there's an odd number. I'm not doing so great with the piping. Generally, using even numbers is better because then you can just pipe between, whereas if you use an odd number, so if you ignore this whole side and everything above, now you've got this bit on top. And what I tend to do to fix this is just this, so that way now it's like this again. If I do the same thing up here, get rid of these pipes and get rid of this end bit, you can see you can just do something like that, bring it over, same thing here. And this is a little bit a little bit slower sometimes to do if you have an odd number, but generally it's not too bad. And this is a pretty compact way of piping stuff like this. And yeah, with large tanks again, generally 4 ways. Another thing I will show is piping wells, because this is something that a lot of people have trouble with, is piping wells neatly, I guess. So I'm gonna find a good spot, like 4 pumps, just because it'll be a better example, like this one. There might even be, yeah, so something like this. So generally what I'll do is I'll just build everything facing in one direction like this. Whoops. And I'll leave the middle one until either side has built, just because you can't build in between the blueprints still. So this is not well known for some reason, but the sides of the wells you can actually build through, which generally when I pipe my wells, I'll just do something like this, and in this case there's no well in the middle, so I tend to do 2 elbows on either side to get those 2 bits close enough, and this is how I'd pipe my wells generally. And also there was another spot over here that would be a good demonstration of another good piping strategy for wells. This spot right here. When you have something like this, same thing, all the wells facing forwards, that generally makes it a bit easier to pipe with if you have them facing all forward, at least with this method of piping. So for these, I'll do something like this. So that you've got one pipe going like this, and if you had a third layer back here or in front, same thing. I might use this middle one or this one, depending on, like, if there's a well in this space right here, I'd end up putting a 4-way on the front, same way as all the others, and just connect it like that. And same if there was one here. And if there was one in this spot directly in front, same thing as I did over there, I'd just pipe this side to the side of the 4-way in front. So like this, I'd pipe from here to here in this case, and in this case I'd pipe from here to here or here to there. The next thing with wells would be generally it's a good idea to upgrade one at a time, because the production upgrade which is the last upgrade, can really speed up how fast you build the wells. Because if you build it like this and then start upgrading, this will use the energy from these to build that, but these don't produce enough for one fabricator on top. Because the fabricators can each pull 25 per second, same as a normal fabricator. I think I might be wrong actually, it might be, yeah, 20 per second, not 25. But yeah, these can pull 20 per second, and the max upgrade is 15 per second. So it's always a good idea to upgrade one at a time because of that. Because you'll see as soon as I get this second well going, this one's gonna upgrade it a bit quicker. I mean, hopefully. There's not much energy in the well pumps already, so not the best demonstration, but you'll still get much faster upgrading if you upgrade them one at a time. In terms of defense for wells, what I like to do is just find a good spot kind of in the middle of the wells, like maybe here, and do something like this. And the reason, because a lot of people know, some people don't, arcs only need 3 caps to run at full speed, but when you start getting into late game and the game starts to lag, sometimes the distributors can't keep up with those 3 caps even though there's enough energy. So adding a couple more caps can actually help quite a bit, and in this case there's 2 extra caps, so that's 100 extra energy, which these shoot 2 shots per second and they cost 30 per shot, so that's 60 irradium per second. So that's another shot and a half, pretty much. And by about this stage, usually I'd prefer to have 4 wells if I can, but 3 wells is better than nothing. Usually you can find a 3 well. Same thing with arcs. I generally like to add a lot more caps than I need. And normally you'd only need 2, so you could put like a T-junction facing like this. But this way, this can keep up. And generally at this point, the only things that I will pipe directly is tanks, and any sort of production like garages, arsenals, and sometimes not even then. Like with the garages are easy to put on distributor caps because they don't need very many, whereas something like a arsenal, that can take up tons of iridium. But yeah, you can see I've got 5 caps here. As soon as I remove that last cap, can't build it anymore because there's not enough storage. But yeah, things with like arsenals, like I was saying before, I tend to do something like this. And usually for 1 or 2 people, 2 arsenals isn't too bad. Generally 2 arsenals per person is a pretty good number. And generally you want to get weapons as soon as you can. So like I was showing on the spawn island with the arsenals before, that's generally what I'll do. Is I'll just put down an arsenal, put down a standard tank, sometimes 2 small tanks is good. That's generally what I'll do. And I generally won't upgrade the well over here or anything, because that's pretty slow to do. And you won't get anything out of this upgraded well. You'll just be able to kind of respawn faster. But yeah, basically, like how I started off here with this bit, I generally just do something like this. Sometimes I'll put 2 arsenals if I have an extra teammate. And yeah, that's the main tips I have with piping is, especially with piping certain things together. In terms of piping to other locations, generally I don't do this much because generally I use transceivers, which I can definitely show that. Like with what I generally do is something like this. As soon as I reach the maximum pipe length, I'll put a 4-way. Sometimes if it's far away, where I don't think I'll have, oh boy, anything going on in between, I'll just pipe like this, and then once I start getting close, I'll start doing more 4-ways. And usually, just to make things a little faster, if I know I'm gonna pipe, I won't cap leaks, just because destroying that cap is a little slow sometimes. But yeah, something like this, and I upgraded the well sequentially there, but that's because those fabs are in range, so it doesn't actually hurt a whole lot generally. But yeah, again, here's more well piping, all of them facing the same direction with 4-ways on the front like that. That's basically it. When you've got a 4-way in front of a well pump in front of a well pump, you can still place a cap here. You can also place a distributor cap if you want. That gives a little extra storage, but that can cause a lot of lag. I don't generally recommend distributor cap storage at this point. But if you had a well like this, this would not actually collide with that, whereas if you do it like this, that is going to stick into the well. But yeah, that's basically it. I guess I'll show some transceiver stuff in second video or something. But yeah. Oh yeah. And with light posts, something like that is pretty fine. Oh, there you go. That's pretty much it. And I mean, I'll literally cap anything I can with distributors because you can put so much more stuff in that way. So like artilleries, I believe you need 3 4-ways like this. I think the requirement is 6 caps. Yeah, let me actually check. Yeah, it should be about 6 caps. It might just be 5. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like it's 4. So I guess you don't need this. So it looks like 5 caps is, yeah, 5 caps is the minimum. Generally, again, I'll add extra caps. So what I was doing there with this third 4-way, generally I would do this, even though you only need 5 technically. That way I can keep firing this, and if there's a bit of lag, I'll still have a bit of extra energy. And yeah, that's about it. I'm thinking if there's anything else, but I don't think there is. So yeah, I'll do a second video at some point with some other stuff, like transceivers, because there's some pretty good stuff you can do with transceivers. Well, bye.